One of the issues with social media, it's been pointed out by many people, is that I think maybe particularly Instagram, people look like they have a much better life. People are posting pictures of when they're really happy. They're modifying those pictures to be better looking. Even if they're not modifying the pictures, they're at least selecting the pictures for the best lighting, the best angle. So people basically seem they're way better looking than they basically really are, and they're way happier seeming than they really are. So if you look at everyone on Instagram, you might think, man, there are all these happy, beautiful people, and I'm not that good looking and I'm not happy, so I must suck, and that's gonna make people sad. So when in fact, those people you think are super happy, actually not that happy. Some of them are really depressed. They're very sad. Some of the happiest seeming people, actually some of the saddest people in reality. And nobody looks good all the time. It doesn't matter who you are, because you just sort of people generally think of themselves relative to others. We are constantly re-baselining our expectations. And you can see this, say, if you watch some show like Naked and Afraid, or if you just go and try living in the woods by yourself for a while, and you'll learn that civilization is quite great. It's a lot of it. People want to come back to civilization pretty fast on Naked and Afraid. Yeah, well, if happiness is reality minus expectation, you will be at some point indistinguishable from reality. This could be some simulation. Well, the argument for the simulation, I think, is quite strong, because if you assume any improvement at all over time, any improvement, 1%, 0.1%, just extend the time frame, make it 1,000 years, 1,000,000 years. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. What would civilization, if you counted, if you're very generous, civilization is maybe 7,000 or 8,000 years old, if you count it from the first writing. This is nothing. This is nothing. So, if you assume any rate of improvement at all, then games will be indistinguishable from reality, or civilization will end. One of those two things will occur. Therefore, we are most likely in a simulation. Anyway, I don't want to sound like things are too dark, because I think you kind of have to be optimistic about the future. There's no point in being pessimistic. It's just too negative. I mean, my theory is you'd rather be optimistic. I think I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right. At least we're on that side.
Right. Yeah.
Because if you're pessimistic, you're just going to be miserable. Even if we just sort of existed as humans forever, we'd still eventually, that'd be like the heat death of the universe. Eventually it's going to end. It's just a question of when.
Right.
So it really is all about the journey. The universe as we know it will dissipate into a fine mist of cold nothingness eventually. It's just a very long time. So I think it's really just about how can we make it last longer. I think most likely, this is just about probability. There are many, many simulations. These simulations we might as well call them reality, or you could call them the multiverse. That substrate is probably boring. But when we create a simulation, like a game or a movie, it's the distillation of what's interesting about life. It takes a year to shoot an action movie, and then that's all distilled down into 2 or 3 hours. So let me tell you, if you see an action movie being filmed, it's boring, super boring. There's lots of takes. Everything's in a green screen. It looks pretty goofy. Doesn't look cool. But once you add the CGI and have great editing, it's amazing. So I think most likely, if we're a simulation, it's really boring outside the simulation. Because why would you make a simulation that's boring? You make the simulation way more interesting than base reality. When you're in that virtual reality, which is only going to get better, where are you? Where are you really?
Right.
You aren't anywhere. I think we should take the set of actions that are most likely to make the future better, and then reevaluate those actions to make sure that it's true. Well, I think it's going to take a while to build a real civilization. The threshold that really matters is for getting past the great filter. Do we have enough resources on Mars such that if the spaceships from Earth stop coming,
you can survive?
Yeah. So now you can only be just missing one little thing. You'd be like, you're on a long sea voyage, and the only thing you're missing is vitamin C. Still not good. It's only a matter of time, you know.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna be curtains. So you gotta have all the things necessary to sustain civilization on Mars. And the reason that the ships from Earth stopped coming could be World War III, or it could be due to a slow decline of civilization. So civilization here on Earth could end with a bang or a whimper. So like, what killed the dinosaurs? Well, right. It wasn't just one thing, you know. Right. It was like a whole bunch of things happened in a row, and you know, while they could have taken any one of those things, they had like 3 things happen, and no dinosaurs. Well, so there either are a lot of aliens or none, and either they're equally terrifying. If there are a lot of aliens, well, I mean, the invasion ship slash you know, bug infestation, just, you know, like
Starship Trooper style.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like an alien civilization might just view us as like a bug infestation. Right. You know, it's like, hey, we left that planet, it was fine. Now it's got a bunch of bugs. Just go fumigate it. You know, like we'd fumigate a house. That's certainly possible. And then, but if there are no aliens, well, could it be that all civilizations are just destroyed before they become interstellar? And I want to be clear, like, to the best of my knowledge, there is no evidence for alien life on Earth. There's no evidence for alien life. There's no direct evidence for alien life. No, you know. And if somebody says, "Oh, what about this alien for, you know, sighting or whatever?" I'm like, listen, it's got to be at least as good as a 7-Eleven or ATM cam. Okay, it's like, if somebody's got at least like an iPhone 1 level camera, yeah, like something, you know. Honestly, I think I would know if there were aliens. I mean, if they wanted us to know, obviously they could just, for sure, you know, show up and walk down Main Street, you know,
right.
Like, hey, I'm an alien, check me out, you know.
Right.
Here's my spaceship, I just land in the middle of Times Square. I'll be like,
right.
Okay. Yeah. So whatever they are very subtle, these aliens. No, I mean, if they show up, I'm like, great, okay, now this is new information. Anyway, listen, if I see some evidence for aliens, I'll be the first to be like, aliens, you know. I mean, we have archaeologists going all over the world looking at things, you know. There's this people, like, if we were to find something like, let's say, like a cube of titanium, just like a 1-inch cube of titanium, say in the middle of the pyramid, I'd be like, aliens for sure. There's no way they could have made titanium back then. There's no way. That's hard. That's all. One little, didn't even need a computer. Like, a computer would be like, hey, wow, computers, they didn't have computers back then, so it must be aliens. But even just like some advanced metallurgy, anything, like, we didn't say anything like that. Everything that we found archaeologically is consistent with the time, the technology they had at that time.
Archaeologically?
Yes. Yeah, just throughout history. It's not like, like if aliens visited, there'd be something buried somewhere, I think. We haven't seen anything. So, anyway, I mean, maybe there are aliens, but they're very subtle. If there are, they're just very, they're being pretty shy. As far as we can tell, there's none. So, nor are we seeing signals from any other solar system or anything like that. So, now, and the thing is that on a galactic timescale, even with sublight travel, you could absolutely colonize the whole galaxy, even some of the neighboring galaxies. So if you said 1 million years and say there's no new physics, could you colonize the galaxy in 1 million years? Absolutely, the entire galaxy.
Only on Be Positive.